Governor Greg Abbott is not making any new friends to our north, going back and forth with the mayor of New York over immigration. This is the politics of Texas. I'm Stephen Dial. Here's your Fast Four. First, former President Donald Trump this week said his home in Florida was raided by the FBI. This has caused outrage by some conservative Republicans, claiming the President Biden is using the FBI as a political pawn. Some, like the Texas GOP chair, are even calling for the FBI to be defunded. It's unclear exactly what agents were looking for, but it's been reported that the search of Mar-a-Lago was for documents allegedly removed from the White House. Governor Greg Abbott is now sending willing migrants to New York. This is in addition to sending buses of migrants to Washington, D.C. The New York mayor called this action horrific and cruel, and is now saying he wants to send busloads of New Yorkers to Texas to campaign against Abbott. For months, Abbott has been vocal on the border crisis, saying he's sending migrants to cities that claim to be sanctuary cities. More than 4,000 migrants have volunteered to be sent to Washington, D.C. ERCOT, Texas's power grid operator, continues to have an interim CEO following the deadly winter storm back in February of 2021. The Texas Tribune is reporting Governor Abbott has, quote, total veto power in the selection of a new leader. Reportedly, Abbott vetoed a potential pick who used to be a vice president with Irving-based TXU Energy and is now CEO of California's power grid operator. The Texas Tribune reported a power industry source said Governor Abbott didn't like the choice because, quote, he came from California. The governor's office didn't comment on his reported involvement in the selection process. On September 30th, Texas gubernatorial candidates Beto O'Rourke and incumbent Greg Abbott will debate in South Texas. Abbott is likely to continue to criticize Democrats for what he calls an open border issue, while Beto O'Rourke agreed to the debate. He said one debate in a state as big as Texas is not enough, so he challenged Governor Abbott to do 3 additional town hall style debates. So far, there's been no word on if that will actually happen. Greg Abbott and Beto O'Rourke have been crisscrossing the state, trying to energize their base as we head into the November election. We now know that there will be one debate, but the big question is, will that be the only time we see both men on the stage together before voters go to the polls? Joining us for our Sunday conversation, Patrick Svitek with the Texas Tribune and Rudy Koski with Fox 7 in Austin. Rudy, the big question is, do you think this is the one and only time we're going to see Beto O'Rourke and Governor Greg Abbott on the same stage before the November election?
Never say never. I think that there may be at least 2 debates coming, but this debate first in South Texas, I think, is a low-hanging curveball for the Abbott camp that the O'Rourke camp has thrown. This plays right into the strategy for the Republicans and what they're doing and trying to go and make inroads, strong inroads into South Texas. It appears that they already are doing that. And I think that this is a big win. If there is going to be a win on this event, it's going to be the Abbott camp, regardless of what comes out of the debate. I think the debate's just going to be a lot of shouting, but I think that this is still a win for the Abbott camp, and there will be more than one.
Patrick, don't you think this is just kind of a setup for Beto? I mean, Abbott has been talking about the border ad nauseum.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at the location, the Rio Grande Valley, this is an area where Democrats know they need to do better this cycle. Beto O'Rourke has acknowledged that Democrats have neglected that part of the state in the past. And so it is obviously an opportunity for him to put his money where his mouth is and commit to probably what's going to be the most high profile event of the campaign season in that location. I think that the location is symbolically important, and I'm sure that's why Abbott chose it to kind of issue the opening salvo in this debate over debates that we always see around this time of the election cycle.
And do you think this will be the one and only debate?
So far, that's the posture that's being put forward by the Abbott campaign. They're basically telling Beto O'Rourke, take it or leave it. This is, we've committed to this. Here are the details. Here's the time and the place. And this is going to be the one and only debate that we're committed to. And I'm inclined to believe that that's going to, remain their posture. Now, of course, if this race continues to tighten, then I could see the Abbott campaign maybe reassessing. But, everything we've heard from the Abbott campaign, is despite the increasing momentum that it seems that Beto has picked up, that they remain confident. They told reporters they think they're on track right now for whatever their version of victory is in November. And so I think this debate that they announced was the move of a confident campaign, or at least a campaign trying to appear confident.
Rudy, is Beto's ground game, is he saying the right things right now? Should he only be talking about abortion and Roe v. Wade, or is bringing up the grid a boring topic? Do you think he's connecting with voters who may be on the fence?
No, I don't think he's connecting right now. I think that he's playing to the base, and he's doing a really good job playing to his base. And his main emphasis, what I've been hearing from him on the campaign trail, is strictly right now gun control and pushing the Uvalde narrative. He did that the past couple of trips that he's made. I don't know if he's actually really reaching across into independent voters right now. I think that there's a lot of anxiety out there, a lot of anger out there that he's trying to tap into. But as of right now, I think both sides are really just playing to their base and hoping that their base is what's going to get them through, with maybe a little outside help. What do you think about that, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, when Abbott talks about the economy and talks about the border, that's, those are issues that have resonance throughout the political spectrum. And when it comes to issues like, gun violence and abortion, polling shows us that there are positions that Beto O'Rourke has on that do register support, not just among Democrats, but among independents and even some moderate Republicans. The question is, what is the salience of those issues, right? I mean, what's going to be the number one and number two issue when voters go to the polls in November? And even though in polling we've seen gun control and abortion rights have risen in the list of issues that voters believe are the most important issues right now, you still see the economy and the border at the top of the list. And if you're Abbott's campaign, you continue to want to keep the focus on those two issues, as well as Joe Biden heading into November.
And I think if the GOP here in Texas negates that or ignores that, they're in trouble a little bit in certain key areas and could actually see a surprise come November. Because remember, this is a midterm election. This isn't the big one. And midterms usually have lesser turnout, smaller turnout. So if you really have a galvanized group of people who are really, really ticked off, like apparently we saw in Kansas, man, this could be an interesting November in Texas.
Rudy, do you think Governor Abbott will add any new blue cities or states to his bus plan?
Yes, I predict that the next bus route will be either Los Angeles or San Francisco, with route number one being San Francisco. I believe
that's a long bus.
That is a long, big bus ride, but that's got to be the next one. I can't think of any other. Maybe Chicago, but really, my wife's from there. That's great. But Chicago?
Patrick, what do you think? This just seems like more, I don't want to use the word ammunition and what we've been talking about more with Uvalde, but this seems like more steam that the governor can just like gravy on top for his reelection bid. Having these friction, these back and forth with these blue mayors and governors. Do you think he's going to add any other destinations?
I could totally see him doing that, but I think just broadly speaking, he's going to look for every way to extend this news cycle over this migrant busing plan. Politically, it is a layup for him. And like I said, he is looking for every possible way to keep the focus in this race on the border. And this just continues that focus. And so politically, it is, I think continues to be a situation where Abbott has the upper hand, at least with the voters in Texas. And I can't imagine it. Even I saw this week that the New York City mayor, Eric Adams, was threatening to come to Texas to campaign against that in reaction to this. That would be just an incredible gift to the Abbott campaign. I don't know if Eric Adams knew exactly what political benefit he may have been creating there for Greg Abbott, but that was obviously just handing a political gift to Abbott, at least among Texas voters.
That's like picante sauce made in New York City. New York City,
right?
If buses of New Yorkers come to Texas, that will be a sight to see. Patrick and Rudy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
As always, you can go to our website, fox4news.com, to get all the latest political news in North Texas and around the state. We will see you next time for another edition of The Politics of Texas.